Welcome back to the I Broke My Foot in Indonesia YouTube channel.
Bruh. I think it's alright.
No, I broke it. Not good.
I broke my ankle.
And today, on things that we shouldn't be doing with a broken foot, we're doing our motorcycle license. So, you know I've ridden a bike before, but I've not actually done any proper training.
Go Sam! Yeah! Oh! You can't park there, mate.
And in about 5 to 10 minutes, I'll be doing my first proper motorcycle training. So I'm going to take some clips for you, because I want to show you what it's like, what's possible to do when you have just come out of surgery with a broken foot. I'll take some clips in the car park doing the technical training, and out when we go for a road ride. Hopefully my chest mount works okay. And then I'll film the other parts of the test. There's 2 more parts of the test that I'll do on different days. And at the end, I'll give you my feedback and tell you what surprised me and what I think you should know if you're going to do your motorbike test in the UK in 2025. So I'll show you the machinery here. This is the beast we're dealing with. It's the guy that runs the thing said it's a Kawasaki Fireblade R1, so that sounds pretty fast. Here we go. So there we go. It's got the Citroen badge there, so you know it's reliable, ready to get going. I didn't film much of the first part of the day because it was pretty boring, to be fair, in terms of what you're going to get to see on camera. We started off with some basic theory about the bike and then how to maneuver the bike, and that included putting it on the center stand. So that meant I had to put all my weight through my broken heel bone on the center stand, which was not very comfortable at all, especially because I was just wearing like walking boots, not even proper riding shoes. And everyone thought that was very funny, and I thought it was very embarrassing, but they didn't know I had a broken foot, to be fair. Then we did some basic stuff. So we got let loose on the bikes in this car park, and we did pulling away and stopping, then some emergency braking. Then we went NASCAR, Indy 500 style, left turns only, baby. We did like 10 laps of the car park, left turn only. Then we did some smaller circles and some figure eights, and to be honest, that was pretty much it. And then a couple of U-turns. We then had like a little kind of dry run, a kind of simulation of what it might like to be on the road, where we were doing our observations and lane positioning on some like chalked up lines on the road, so you can get a practice before you're let loose on the A roads of the United Kingdom. And then that was pretty much it. So it went pretty smoothly. I have to say, I think my instructor was pretty good on this part of the course, but also definitely like skipped through a lot of stuff, because the people that I was with, I was the only one who's like first time doing this kind of training. The one girl I was with, she'd failed the last one. She was just doing it on a scooter this time. And then the other 2 guys, they'd been like riding on their CBT for years, and they were just up for renewal. So I do feel like I was kind of skipped over some of the basics on like how to actually use the bike position, like proper like throttle inputs and things like that. I would have liked a bit more information, but I picked it up. If I hadn't of just like, if I was just learning for the first time completely fresh, it definitely would have felt like I'd been thrown into deep water, because there was like not a whole lot of explanation of like how to do it, only being told what to do. But anyway, we survived on this part, didn't fall off yet, which is very good news. I've got a serious case of helmet hair, but the first part of that CBT, the first part of the basic training, is now done. The instructor's taking the other 2 people in the session out for like a ride on the road, so we'll be going next, but now it's lunch break. I just want to show you, while the other guy's away, with this setup that one of the guys is running, not with his motorbike, but actually with his car. He's brought his own kettle and stove. It's pretty unreal. So, and he's just been offering brews to anyone that walks past. Like a bit of an odd group, but at least it's good fun. It's been going well. I'm now fully qualified to drive in small circles at walking speed in a car park. Now we're going to practice on the road. I was surprised there's not as much practice as I was thinking there would be. Maybe that's because the people in the session have all done the CBT before. Actually, I'm the only person doing it for the first time. The other people can already ride, they're just renewing theirs.
So maybe that's why there's not that much practice, because I've also done a bit before, so I think he's kind of speeding through it a little bit and focusing more on polishing what we know, rather than, you know, teaching us how to use the clutch, because we can all manage that already. But that was a surprise. I thought it'd be just a lot of independent time doing like emergency braking over and over and over again, but no, we just sort of, once you meet the minimum requirements, can get off as long as you're safe and ready to go. But the instructor's a nice guy, and he's very knowledgeable. So I'm very excited for the next part, because we go actually on the road. I'm going to put you on my chest. I'll see if you can see anything, and maybe you get first person footage of me failing my CBT first time. That would be incredible, wouldn't it? So I'll see you later.
Not really sure what I can tell you about this bit. It was just driving around, albeit very slowly, because the girl I was with was literally petrified of being on two wheels. She'd crashed in her last CBT, so I went to the front, but then I kept getting told to slow down because she couldn't keep up, because she didn't want to go over 20 miles an hour. But fair enough. That probably didn't set me up very well for then the stuff I did later in my training, because then I was told that I had to get up to like 70 dead quick. So a few mixed messages there. Not very exciting though, just your normal like driving around at a slow speed on the roads. The main thing basically being the road position and doing the shoulder checks, indicating and turning the indicator off. That was it really. I'm not very good at turning the indicator off. Oh, and I should probably tell you that this section lasts about 2 hours, and you have a one-way radio transmitter in your ear. So your instructor can talk to you, but they can't hear all the abuse you're giving at them for telling you to tell your indicator off for like the 16th time. And I think it's really hard to fail the CBT. I don't even know how it's possible to fail the CBT. Maybe the instructor was just being nice, but he did tell our group that the reason that girl failed on her previous test when she crashed was actually not because of the crash, it was because of something else. So I think you have to really, really cock it up to fail. And if you're watching this after failing your CBT, please tell me what you did, because I'm actually quite curious. No offense, but what you did wrong. I think they sometimes are more worried about too much caution, or not enough caution, or maybe just not enough of the shoulder checks. They will go on and on at you about doing your observations. So that is the main thing. Anyway, we did this, and then that was it.
It's a few days later, and it's time for round 2. This is my module 1. So in the UK, they split the test up into 3 parts. CBT, which is like just being allowed to be on the bike. Module 1, which is all the skills. And then module 2, which is all the road riding. Today I've got module 2, and I'm on a much bigger bike. One of these. So just got to shoot a quick intro because they're waiting for me inside. I've already got hat hair, even though I haven't even put the helmet on yet, and ready to go. So I'll take some clips and I'll see you later. So he said this was a Harley Enfield Versus. So this is the biggest bike I've ever been on. It's still got L plates on, but it is a 650, which is at a zero in pounds how much my insurance is going to be when I ride this one after I'm certified. So I'm a bit nervous because it's the biggest bike I've ever been on, but I'm pretty excited. Can't wait to get going, and to be honest, I can't wait to get this done so that I can just crack on with the road stuff and really get to it.
The Module 1 training is basically just doing your CBT training again, but on a bigger bike. And that might sound scary that you're on a bigger bike, but everyone that I've spoken to agrees that actually doing it on these bigger bikes is way easier. And I think there's 2 reasons for that. First of all, they're a bit heavier, so they feel way more stuck to the tarmac, to the ground. They feel like really sticky and grippy. And the other thing is that these bikes were in way better condition. Like the throttle response was much smoother, the gearbox was much smoother, and they just seemed like they're in much better condition. They're definitely not beaten up as much as those CBTs are, the CBT bikes are, the 125 Hondas, because there's so many people like who've never like shifted gears, I guess, that are trying to like stamp it into gear. These ones nice and easy to control. So we did the same things, like a little slalom, figure of 8s. You did a little bit more faster stuff, so like I said, practice some emergency stops again, and stopping within a box, like you're trying to follow traffic and stop within a target area, and then some swerving and manoeuvring, but again, same kind of stuff. And then getting used to keeping the clutch in and holding the brake down, the back brake down a little bit to keep the bike nice and tight is the way it could be kind of described. And I kind of felt really confident at the end of these. This time there was way more time for independent practice, and it kind of felt more like how I would have liked to have done the CBT. Although this time I feel like we got even less information about how to do the stuff properly. It was just kind of expected we'd already taught it properly in the CBT. And again, the other guy that I was with doing this, he could already ride. He was already like doing like enduro riding and some kind of motocross, so he was already super confident on the bike. So again, I felt like a bit left behind. I think part of that's because I was doing this in February, in winter. I think if you did it in summer, during normal riding season, you'd be with a lot more people who are doing it for the first time because the conditions are way nicer. I did do a mock test, like I put myself through a mock test, so I remembered all the steps that we were told we are going to have to do during the test, and then I went through it. So I actually recorded that, and I'm going to talk you through what you actually need to do during a proper test in a minute.
So far so good, no major incidents. I haven't gone over the handlebars, which is nice. It's better than I expected. A lot of the skills are the same from the CBT, but you have to do them to a higher standard. And then there's a few more. We have to do like a bit more serious emergency braking, getting up to beyond 30 miles an hour, and the same like swerving out of the way of cones, so to imagine you have to swerve out the way of an obstacle on the road. So that bit I got a bit nervous for. The U-turns, we're doing a bit of tighter U-turns and stuff like that. I did drop the bike once, but I caught it. It just didn't fall over, but I put the foot on the floor. I was surprised that my post-surgery foot has held up to that. That was one of the things I was actually most nervous about, is putting the foot down and then having this incredible pain in my foot from where the screws are. Luckily, I didn't get that. It was painful, but not enough to put me off, not enough to think that, oh, okay, I'm not ready to ride. So we stopped for a quick lunch, and then we've got to do some more of the evasive manoeuvres and more things like that. So we're kind of halfway through the testing, and then that'll be it for the day, and tomorrow is the real deal. The test itself is only 12 minutes, but a lot riding on it, because I think they get booked up with test dates very quickly. So if you fail this one, you can be waiting weeks for another one. So there is a bit of pressure on me to get it right. Otherwise, I'm not sure I'll be riding for a year or two, knowing what the UK is like for waiting times.
So you can't film anything to do with your test. You can't film the test centre, and you can't record the test yourself. So I wasn't able to do my live test, but here's footage of when I put myself through a mock test. So I went through all the steps and did all the practice in the car park the day before, so that I was ready for my test the next day. And this is what I did as part of my independent practice time. The first thing is to go through the cones. You have to do a slalom without touching any of the cones, and then that is going to bring you into doing 2 figure of 8s. Now for the figure of 8s, there's no size limit. You can see I went back through the other cones there, and you can make it as big as you want. So I went really wide. I thought it was much better that I went over the top and had lots of space rather than fall over or brush a cone. Once you're through with that, you're going to do a loop around, and they have to hit a minimum speed of like 18 or 20 miles an hour. And then here we came to a stop. You do that over a much bigger area in the real test. Then you have to pull forwards, and you have to stop within a marked area. It's not an emergency stop, it's just like you're stopping in traffic. After you've done that, you're going to do a U-turn. This is a right-hand U-turn, because technically you should never need to do a left-hand U-turn on the road, and you have to again stay within an area. What we did in training was way tighter than it was during the real test, so that was nice. Then you're going to come round through a medium speed corner, and then you have to do an emergency stop. Now you have to do the emergency stop once you've reached a certain speed, 52 kilometers an hour, going through a speed trap. Then you're going to come back round again, and you're going to go through and do an emergency avoidance. So you're swerving out of the way of a cone this time, again going at 52 kilometers an hour as a minimum through the speed trap. Once you've done that, you're going to be asked to bring the bike to a stop, and if that's what I remember properly, that's all there was. It was actually pretty simple, and probably took even less than 12 minutes.
You're not going to believe this. No wonder Liam calls me Grandad. I didn't go bloody fast enough. They almost failed me for not going fast. No, I can't believe it. They almost failed me for not going fast enough on the emergency avoidance. I actually did get up to speed, but I came off the throttle too soon. I came off the throttle before the speed trap, I think. But I think I only got a minor for it, because he let me have another go. And overall, I did pass. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I did everything else spot on. He didn't mention anything else. So that means passed Module 1. I've got my certificate. And I'm still on track, ready for Module 2. That's all the road riding stuff. I think that's going to be good, going to give me some more confidence. Some thoughts I'm having halfway through. I do think if I hadn't ridden a bike before at all, definitely doing this stuff straight away would be like too much for me. I just wouldn't have confidence in like the balance and bike control. Maybe if I come from like a mountain biking background or something like that, it would be an easy step up. But I think it's too much too soon for almost too much too soon for me. Someone who's got less confidence than me probably would need to do like extra training, maybe even stick to the CBT and do lots and lots of hours of just the skills in a car park, so that when you come to do it on a test on a big bike, it's like just easy for you, like next step. Same about the road riding, but I'm not going to buy a 125 just because I'm old enough to do my direct access, so to me it just seems like an unnecessary expense. The other thing is I would have liked more time to practice the emergency avoidance, because we didn't really get to do it going up to full speed. We did it in a shorter area, going up to I got up to like 25 miles an hour, but we didn't have that much room in the car park. We did do it on the road, and we did get up to 30 miles an hour doing it on the road, swerving around drain covers and other in-road obstacles, but not like a mock test. So that would have been good, but I still take full responsibility for it. I should have just kept on the throttle later. So that is my fault at the end of the day. I'm not bitching about anything that the training centre's done. So yeah, but just some thoughts so far. Anyway, excited for Module 2. Hopefully this one goes well. If I can manage to concentrate enough on driving with all the stupid bloody checking over your shoulder every 30 seconds you have to do, that, you know, I spend so much time looking in my mirrors and over my shoulder, I don't have any time to look where I'm going. But if I can manage to get over that, if I can deal with that, then Module 2 should be okay. So, catch me in a few days next week when I do Mod 2. Okay, it's very bright, but that's good. It's blue sky. We don't see many of them, and it is the next part, I forget what day it is, but the next part of my motorbike training. I've got to do the Module 2 training, which is all on road. So I think it's going to be about 4 hours out on the road, and hopefully, if I'm any good, I'll get outside the business estate. So I've done a bit of on road, but now it's ready to get the systems in place for learning all the proper checks and things like that, and then we go out, blast around, and get some practice and hopefully do a mock test for tomorrow. So I'm a bit late because I came straight from another job interview, but I'm going to go into the test centre now, into the training centre, kit up, and then hopefully they let me take you with me on a chest mount. If not, well, I'll have to find something else that works. See ya in a minute.
My Module 2 training on the road was the same sort of thing as the CBT, but it's just more extended, and then you also include faster roads because you're on a bigger bike, so you can go faster. The instructor is stricter, so they kind of pick up on more things that you might fail on or get minors for. Those sorts of things are like use of the indicators and switching them off, doing your observations and shoulder checks properly and enough and at the right time, your lane position, getting up to speed on faster roads, so getting up to the limit, and then also following in traffic, so that stop-start kind of traffic, and also keeping the right position. You'll do hill starts, and you'll do lots of like pulling over at the side of the road and pulling away. We used a much bigger variety of roads. We covered the test route and like the test area, which is really good because I'm not that familiar with the area. Although it's like my home area, I haven't lived there for years, so I've been living abroad, so a lot of the roads have changed, or I can't remember them. But the nice thing is, unlike a car test, there's no manoeuvres, and that's kind of the thing that confused me. I thought there'd be like lots of manoeuvres you'd have to do, because that's kind of a big part of the car test, but there are no manoeuvres, it's just normal driving.
That was quicker than expected, just a couple hours today and then we're all done. I think they made a bit of a balls up of the timing, to be honest. I told them I'd be here at midday, I came at 12:15, and then they said, oh, we've got one of the guys who's just gone out, so we've only got time for you for an hour. And I was like, alright, so I don't know. But I'm coming in tomorrow at 7 AM, so they're going to fit me in at 7 AM tomorrow, so I think I'm going to do a lot of riding tomorrow, probably 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll have my test straight afterwards. I thought I was pretty hopeless on a bike and was going to need like to do extra training because the guy, my instructor, says nothing ever good about me, and I asked him like, have you got any feedback? He goes, no. no feedback. I go, alright, and then I was like, what do you think I'm going to pass? He goes, yeah. so there you go, so fingers crossed. So it's 7 AM, If you ask me, that's which an hour. I haven't been up this early for a long time. I had to get up at 6 to get here, and we're out ready for some training. The guy I'm training with, his test is at like 10:30, so that's why we're starting so early, so we can both go out on the road. It means I'll get a nice long break. Hopefully I get 2 sessions. My confidence is not an all-time high, so I'm also half asleep. Let's hope once I get going, we find a bit of movement with it, but bloody hell, it's miserable being up this early. I'll see you later. Another very severe case of helmet hair tells you that I just got back from my road ride, and I've been out on this beast, the Honda Davidson, made by Yamasaki, and going well. I'm getting a bit more confident. I'll be honest with you, I'm not bursting with confidence, but the instructor said it is normal. You know, the test is to make sure you're not really a danger to yourself or others. It's not to make you like amazing on the bike. And that's kind of where I feel I'm at. I did, which is not going to boost my confidence. I did drop the bike, fell over, pulled up to like a junction. I was like about to go, and then a car was coming, so I stopped. Not like a busy road, but it was just way down. I could have definitely gone, but just like mental blank, and I just was stationary and basically doing a track stand, and then I just fucking went over. Poof. So that's no good. But I picked myself up and got back on with it. Luckily nobody run me over, I didn't die. A few little errors, but in terms of like what's gonna pass me the test, so far I think I'm doing pretty well. So we're gonna go back out on the road in this absolutely miserable weather. Would you believe it? I mean, it's raining, but would you believe it, this is like some of the better weather we've had today. It was pouring it down. So see you back out on the road, and then it's my test. Right, it's test time. I'm bloody nervous, to be honest. Luckily, the one I just came back from, definitely like the best I've felt on a bike since I've been training here on the big bike. So, kind of getting back into it. Just got to pull it through now. Let's hope I remember the questions to do with maintenance of the bike. I'm not very mechanically minded. My dad will tell you that. So. Who knows what kind of nonsense I'm going to say when they ask me how to check the oil. And yeah, just got to keep focused on the road. Remember to turn my indicators off, and remember to keep the bike nice and tight coming around the corners. But I reckon I've got it in the bag. Just got to be confident now. Got to tell myself I'm not nervous, I'm just excited. Obviously I can't film during the test, so I'm going to catch up with you and let you know how it goes after this.
Obviously no filming during the test, unfortunately, same like with the Module 1. But this is what you do. You're going to arrive and then you wait your turn, very nervous. I think I went for a wee about 6 times in 5 minutes. And then you go in when you're called, and you need to give your CBT certificate, your Module 1 certificate, and your driver's license. So don't forget those, or they can fail you on the spot. And then after a quick chat, you're going to be taken out into the yard, and you're going to have to do an eyesight check where you look at a number plate in the distance. I think it's 20 meters away. And then you're going to be asked, before you even get on the bike, to show me and tell me questions. So these are like bike theory about maintenance or operating the bike. So for example, I was asked to tell him about how the bike handling changes when you've got a passenger on the back, and also to show him how to check the operation of the brakes. I found a really good video before my test from, I think it's 3 Counties Motorcycle Training, and I'm going to link that in the description because it was so good, so clear, and I just recited what they said, and that was really, really helpful. I watched it the night before. And then you just go out for a normal ride. So my examiner was super, super nice, and actually he had a really good reputation as being nice, and he put me really at ease. They were definitely like working with you. They definitely want you to pass instead of working against you. Then we just went out for a normal ride, so I'm really lucky I kind of pulled it through. This was probably my best and honestly my most relaxed ride. I was not worrying, and I think part of that is because I didn't have someone in my ear like calling out all the mistakes this time, so I could just get into the flow. I did get a minor for undue caution at a roundabout because there was a lorry looking to come on, and I wasn't sure if I could pull away fast enough, so I thought it was better to wait. I got 1 for starting an overtake, but then realising that I was already near the speed limit, so I stayed under the speed limit, but then I couldn't overtake the car. And then I got 1 for lane position on the roundabout, just making my life more difficult. I went into the wrong lane, so that was all. But overall, it was way easier than expected. They just want to see you're safe. So again, like no maneuvers. They're not really trying to catch you out. They just want to see that you're safe, going with the flow of the traffic and doing all your checks. So it was actually very straightforward. They're not bothered about perfect riding and bike control, and that's why I was nervous. You know, I thought if you didn't pull away, you know, straight as an arrow, or you were a bit jerky coming to a stop, or you're in the wrong gear or something like that, that they would get a minor for it, and then these can add up really quickly. That wasn't the case. I was a bit jerky a couple times, but just didn't even mention that at all in the debrief. So that's clearly not the kind of thing they're looking out for, as long as you don't just stack it and fall off or wrap it around a tree.
You're not going to fucking believe this. I've passed. I can't believe it. They're giving licenses out to anyone now. Yeah, I passed. I got a couple minors for like lane discipline. Same as in my driving test years ago. On like multi-lane roundabouts, lane discipline on the roundabout. And 2 others, but to be honest, I've kind of like my brain kind of switched off, you know, so now just lane discipline really, and distance between the cars, but yeah, so I'm very happy now. I can go and get a bike, I can go and get the equipment. So if you're interested to see all that kind of stuff, then I want you to comment on this video what bike you think I should get, because I need advice. I'm going to be on the bike, hopefully, for a couple of years, overlanding. So if you know anything about it, or you just want to see me go through something miserable, comment down below. You know, if you want me to take a like 1980s Honda XR and you want to see me learn to become a mechanic in the middle of nowhere, then that might make for a funny video, so you can drop it down below. Or if you've got any real suggestions, then comment down there. I'm thinking something like a Royal Enfield Himalayan 400, maybe a Honda CRF. I've got to keep the budget tight, I'm not made of money. So, but yeah, once this wave of pure joy is washed off, I'm going to give a little bit of feedback, like maybe what kind of tips I would give someone who's in my position, doing the direct access straight away with like pretty much no experience, what I would change and some things I felt. But the main thing I'm thinking now is that test was easier than I was expecting. I think every examiner's different, but I think he was pretty forgiving. I was expecting it to be, I'm about to be bloody run over. It's because I haven't got my high vis on. It was more forgiving, so I had a few wobbles, but you know, just like about to go and then saw a car, so I braked instead. He didn't mention anything about that afterwards, so I guess it's fine. So I think it's a bit more forgiving than kind of like a car test. And he said that in the start. He said, you know, this is a recreational thing, that's why it's not quite as, you know, procedure based as a car test. But did all my observations, all that kind of stuff, so I think he was happy, in control of the bike. I'm happy, hope you're happy. So maybe there'll be a little bit after this, but if not, I'll see you in the next one.
Before I go, I just want to give you my final kind of thoughts on how the whole experience was, and my personal experience and the key kind of takeaways. But if you have made it this far, thank you very much for watching. You must like watching me ride a motorbike. So if you want to see more of that stuff as I go travelling around the UK and eventually all over the world, then hit the subscribe button to keep up to date. So here are my final thoughts. There was good that there was 3 clear sections. The CBT is definitely how to operate the bike. Module 1 is definitely polishing slow maneuvers, it's not about learning them. And Module 2 is kind of polishing how you ride on the road. It's not about learning how to ride on the road. There wasn't a whole lot of teaching. It was more like just telling you what you're doing wrong, which was kind of disappointing for me. Overall, I was mainly disappointed with a lack of explanation. You know, I'm a dive instructor, but I've also been a boxing coach and a gymnastics coach. So I know you should never assume knowledge, and you always need to understand and explain how things work, not just what to do. I wasn't explained how things worked. I was just told what to do. That left me feeling really lost. And if I hadn't have done actually the training abroad in Thailand, I did like a kind of CBT kind of thing in Thailand, and I did some enduro, I would have really struggled, because they wouldn't have even told me how to operate things like the clutch. Although on the other hand, probably because I did quite well in my CBT, because I was used to operating a clutch and riding a small capacity motorbike, I think some things were skipped, and that then probably had a knock-on effect later in my testing and training experience. If they'd have taken the time to explain like the body position, the input and control techniques and cornering mechanics and so on, it would have given me a lot more confidence, and I would have breezed through the test. Actually, unfortunately, overall, I think the whole training experience probably reduced my confidence on the bike, especially Module 1 and Module 2. That's not to do with the bigger bike. I felt more comfortable on the bigger bike. But this was because of like a constant like negative feedback. This is partly unavoidable due to the one-way earpiece, but even when returning back to the training centre for like a coffee break, there was no kind of constructive feedback or being told like some tips and tricks on how to fix what I was doing wrong. I was just told what I was doing wrong. It was really hard to get some feedback out of my instructor, kind of a bit of getting blood from a stone. There's being a man of few words, and then there's also just not giving enough input, and I felt he was probably on the wrong side of that. That's not a personal thing. He was actually a really nice guy, but yeah, just in terms of his teaching style, didn't really get on with me personally. And that was probably my main disappointment, was the lack of feedback and the lack of teaching of the fundamentals of actually riding a bike. The reason why I did my testing and training in the UK, even though it's way more expensive than doing it abroad, is because I was expecting getting better quality training. I don't think that was the case. Actually, the best quality training I've had on a motorbike was in Thailand. This guy had an amazing kind of setup. He must have done motorbike training or stuff in the UK as an examiner or something like this, because it was almost exactly what I did in my CBT, but in way more depth. So I'm going to actually link his business. It's in Chiang Mai, and I had the best time ever. So if you're ever in Chiang Mai, check this guy out. It was absolutely fantastic. And finally, the test. This was way easier and way less strict, and there were way less requirements than I ever thought there was going to be. We went through everything that we'd done in training, but it was way easier than we'd done in training. Everything had more space, and it was way more relaxed because you don't have your examiner talking to you. They only tell you the directions which way to go, and you don't even need to go the right directions. As long as you do things safe, doesn't matter which way you go. So overall, don't sweat the test. It was probably the easiest part of the whole thing, and now I'm certified to ride. So I look forward to seeing you on my next motorbike adventure. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.